What's in your cup?
A whole lot of everything, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world. Welcome to the best thing to ever happen to your entire universe. This is the Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. I go by the name of Files, and she is...
Nigga, and she is...
cracking up because Brandy kills me. Tiana Giovanna, and he is
DJ Swivel, aka
Sexy Swivel.
Just
aka Dr. Love,
aka Depressed Swivel, because my freaking Los Angeles Lakers have become a rather atrocious
joke
this season. It's I don't know. At this point, I'm almost ready to say I don't know what's worse right now, the Lakers or freaking what's happening with Russia invading Ukraine. They're both tragic situations.
I think that's going kind of far. But...
That's the Ukraine because they won't let us out. So fuck it. I'm saying it. I said it.
Yeah, that part.
Yeah, you know what? I'll be completely honest. It's tragic what's happening when you boil it down to just the core of humanity and what we're experiencing as far as just the consciousness of everything goes. But it's really upsetting that even during a time of war, you have time for racism, right?
That part.
I understand, and they've said something about, they're going to prioritize their citizens, which I get. But at the same time, it's regardless, these are all, everyone is human being. Everyone is trying to get out and get away from something that none of them had anything to do with. I kind of feel like it should be a first come, first serve kind of a thing. If you're standing here in front of me as a human being trying to leave, why do I need to put you to the back of the queue?
Yeah.
If you feel like everybody's going to get through the queue anyway. And so just so y'all out there are aware, there've been a lot of reports of, Black African nationals getting pulled off of trains in Ukraine and not being able to remove themselves from the situation. I saw one video where they had several, a lot of them are African students who are med students and stuff like that studying in Ukraine, had them held at gunpoint trying to cross into Poland. And they're we're not armed. We're students. We're just trying to get away. And the Polish have them at gunpoint at the border. No, you can't come in here. So, it's just crazy to me that in a humanitarian crisis that we're going to prioritize skin color. I feel regardless, and I've said this before, a refugee is a refugee. I don't care what country you come from. And right now it's adding insult to tragedy.
Right. That's perfect.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So
no, I know, because I'm y'all know me, I'm gonna go far left with it, and I'm let's keep some writing, so I'm just gonna stay quiet.
Yeah, I guess for me, Tiana's, I've seen, I don't know how many videos of Black people being denied, pulled off buses, or not even allowed to get onto a bus or a train, or to cross the border, and mothers sitting literally at the border of Poland in 3-degree temperature weather, overnight with their newborns or their toddlers, just waiting for, the approval to get across. And it's to Tiana's point, why do we need to push people to the back of the line, so to speak, and knowing that Russia was staging troops around Ukraine over a week in advance? You would think, okay, let's start to prepare for, let's start to prepare for refugees coming, looking for a safe haven, and brainstorm a plan on how we're going to just like get people across the border, maybe into some kind of station area or tent or what have you, and then figure out who's who based on their their citizenship and their identification and all that kind of stuff. Like,
I know what they got time for. They got time for a vaccine and a little bit of chicken fried.
Boz is just unbothered right now.
My thing is that there's been an upcry. Number one, Black people should have an international coalition for these types of situations. Mm-hmm. The issue is with a lot of these, and I haven't been involved in many, if any, but the whole ADOS, FBA, like that whole conversation, right? A lot of it gets convoluted, but it boils down to situations like this. And I agree, by all means, humanity is humanity. But we've seen time and time again, especially in my experience as a Black man, right, that lives in America, I consider myself a Black man first, above everything else. The issue is in these conversations is that when you have continental Africans or those that are around the world that try to erase the quote unquote Black away from their identity. I'm not Black, I am blank. Whether you're Nigerian, South American, whatever, I don't care, right? Situations like this call for a unification of Black people. For, hypothetically speaking, not even hypothetical, because I was actually in a situation exactly like this. When I went overseas and got detained in Turkey, the U.S. literally said, yo, this is our guy, make sure you take care of him. Plain and simple. Wasn't no mistreatment. I was taken care of, sent back to where I got everything situated that I need to in order to get back. And this is right at the beginning of the Syrian conflict, right? So it's one of those things to where, granted, the nations, wherever these Black people are from, hopefully their nations are coming to their aid, right? But over and above all else, there should be a Black code that should kick into gear that says, no, either let them on or you're going to have to face some other issues.
Right.
Right? Or, above all else, it should be, yo, don't even worry about that because we got the Black train that's been here. We getting y'all the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? But it's problematic when you have all of these conflicts and you can't get a unification of Black people around the world. I don't care what your nationality is.
Yeah.
Identify as being a melanated person. Period. Not no Afro this and I'm Afro that. Fuck all that. I'm Black.
Yeah.
I am a Black person, right? Not a person of color, Black. Why? Because there are no people of color that are coming to your aid.
Yeah, exactly.
Technically, the Ukrainians are people of color.
Technically.
Right.
So,
I mean, I'm with you. I've only heard I've heard a couple of specific stories about Rwandan students and Nigerian students. And it's my understanding that there are, representatives from their embassies in Poland that are like out there looking for them, like going to the front lines and being like, yeah, that's my person. Yeah. Like, kind of like ushering them through and helping them out but it's been obviously after all of this has
after it came out.
Yeah. But not only that, like, what about those people who, they faced, they were facing like conflict at the border in Poland. But what about those people who haven't even made it to Poland, who they're pulling off of the trains and the buses to evacuate from the Ukraine to get there in the first place, So like they have to be able to get there. And then, so they're facing hardships just getting any kind of transportation. And then once they get to their destination at the border, they're facing even more. So, I mean, like I said, it's a messed up situation in general, period. And it's my understanding that, you know, Ukraine has a history of racism. I can't speak to the specifics and the depths of that, but you know, it's not something that has been like a hidden thing. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted by greed and war and pandemics and racism and microaggressions and bullshit in general. I'm ready to go to fucking bed.
I want to remind the audience like that we've highlighted on this show numerous times over the years, especially Foz, specifically, you know, in times like these, you know, kind of point out like, hey, like when there's conflict like this, you know, war, whatever you want to call it, also pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes and going on in other, you know, other places in the world. And, you know, I found it interesting that there was a US airstrike in Somalia on, I think it was like day 2 or day 3 of the Russian invasion in Ukraine. Not only that, apparently the Saudi Arabians had 37 airstrikes in Yemen.
By who?
Well, and that's the thing, like, I don't know the full details in terms of like, you know, where these airstrikes have happened and what, you know, was the intended goal or intended target. But, you know, like to Faz's point, in situations like these in the past, like, you know, there's other things going on. And so like the world is kind of distracted or looking in this direction while, you know, some, you know, potentially shady stuff might be going on in another part of the world that, you know, nobody's privy to because they're so focused on, you know, these other things. And so, you know, just for the audience, like, you know, keep your head on a swivel, so to speak, and just like be aware of like what else is happening, you know, in this world. You know, because, you know, this is easily like a major distraction for most people.
Yeah.
Follow the bunny.
Yeah.
Oh, always. And I really want to make it a point. I really want to make the point of saying like the issue of racism that a lot of African natives are experiencing, or even just Black folks are experiencing in trying to evacuate. That is not like, I'm not slighting this. I'm not trying to downplay the situation because it's bad for everybody. I'm not slighting the people who are involved here because it's, at the end of the day, it's tragic and it's really just messed up. The fact that all of this is happening because one dude who has little dick energy wants to get, you know, the minerals and the natural resources of another country to, you know, just something else to put under his belt, right?
You talking about Joe Biden?
No, Putin.
That was the joke. Yeah. I mean, because they're all the same person. I think it's deeper than that, but continue.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm just saying, like, the fact that there are so many innocent people who are suffering because of this, like, I'm not against the Russian people. We have more in common with them than we do with their government. But, like, I mean, on an individual basis, it's a lot of people who don't want this war. It's a lot of people who are getting hurt that are just casualties of war. Mm-hmm. You know, people like, you know, not very different from us, who are losing their savings and losing their homes because, you know, now the ruble is worthless and all of their life savings is down the drain. You know, like things like that are just a really messed up side effect of what's happening. And so I don't want to take away from that picture, but like I said, I think, you know, adding insult to tragedy is like, it's exactly what's happening to Black people because they are experiencing it and they're stuck in a foreign land where no one gives a shit about them. That's really messed up.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on the deepness? You're like, I think it's deeper than that. Are you talking about global domination?
Absolutely, because I know that part of it has to deal with the fact that Ukraine has been interested in joining NATO and the EU for almost a decade. I believe they recently got their independence, I want to say within the last, 20 years, 25 years?
Well, yeah, when the Soviet Union...
Yeah.
When the Soviet Union was expanded.
Right. So they've claimed their independence and they've been trying to join the EU. One of those things that we fail to understand because we are conditioned to believe that, the US is the savior of all things, is that there's also an ulterior motive from what I believe and consider to be the global power structure, which is Britain, US, and the Vatican, right? So with that, Ukraine splits, let's say they go and join the EU, they have all these details of, all this intelligence that pertains to Russia. So what better way to shut that down than to do exactly what's happening right now? What better way for the US, who's been trying to gain some sort of military presence in that area than to side with the Ukraine and make it, publicize it to us as if there's something different that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Which clearly it's much more difficult to fire a missile, 10,000 miles. It's much easier to do it when you across the street. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really need that much effort. You feel me? So plus that puts you in a position to deal with whatever conflict and whatever, future endeavors, that may occur, whether it be with North Korea, Russia, whoever else they deem to be a threat, to our national security.
And this situation has been, a decade in the making, right? Putin has threatened and been threatening for the last 10 years to go into the Ukraine. And for several reasons. I believe, that some of those reasons, Faz, are what you just said. I believe that it's about, the natural resources and minerals because, you look at Russia and they're all kleptocrats, right? It's all, Putin and I think anywhere between 12 and 20 oligarchs that are the ones who control all of the money in the entire country. So, I think that part of it was he went in there to tell his buddies, hey, we'll go in there and we'll take over this resource and this resource and this resource. And you're going to be in charge of this one and you're going to be in charge of this one and you're going to be in charge of this one and so on and so forth based on whatever it is that they do or control in their own countries. So I think it's him enriching himself because apparently they estimate that he can be worth as much as $400 billion, right? So obviously he's greedy as fuck. And then you've got the oligarchs who are all multi-billionaires that are, his crew, and they're the ones who run the country. But he's now saying, okay, well, if you go in here, you'll be enriched. I'll have more power. We'll have more intel, right? Because we're taking everything from Ukraine, like you were saying. And not only that, it's one of those things, like I said, it's another notch in his belt where he feels like, oh, I'll be remembered for X, Y, and Z. But I feel like ultimately, because of how this is going and because of all of the sanctions that now the world have started putting on them, I think that his own, like the oligarchs are really going to be the ones to end this because they're like, this is hurting our pockets. You promised us this. This ain't going this way because now all of these countries are paying attention and responding in kind. So I kind of feel like they're going to be the ones who step in and actually stop this.
I mean, it could come down,
because like you said, follow the money, right?
It could come down to them, the oligarchs, like putting pressure on Putin to, withdraw or pull back from trying to take over Ukraine, or it could just be the Russian citizens themselves that put the pressure on. Because if these sanctions of like closing down Russians have access to the SWIFT banking system, then if the Russian citizens can't access their own money and their own savings and whatnot, then they're gonna be like, what the heck, man? Like, this is one, like you completely promoted the invasion of Ukraine as being something that was going to be, for the benefit of Russia, because it's, it's our territory, and we're going to go back and claim it and all that. But now, like, now we're completely tapped out as far as our financial system is concerned. Like, that's not going to fly with the at least I don't think it's going to fly with the citizens. And
well, I think it's going to be twofold. I think it's going to be the oligarchs, one, because the whole SWIFT banking system, they refer to them being cut off on like the SWIFT banking system as like almost like a nuclear, they call it like a nuclear response, right? Without it actually being nuclear, but they're just saying like it's that big for them to be cut off. So you've cut all of these oligarchs off from a good, not all of their money, obviously, but a good chunk of their money, because they've got money and everything. But you've also cut off the people. And Putin made a comment, or at least his office made a comment, saying basically like, if you cut us off from SWIFT, you're hurting our citizens. So they tried to flip it by saying, if we don't have the funding to fight this war, then we'll just take it from our people, which means you're forcing our hand to hurt our people. Therefore, you are hurting our people, right? So it's just very.
I only beat you because I love you.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. That's exactly what that is. That circular, messed up reasoning. And so I think it's going to be, to Swivel's point, I think it's going to be the people who are going to rise up and be, like I said, like they're just regular people who are like, look, y'all just took our money, my savings, my house is worthless. Everything that I've worked so hard for is rubbish now. And then you're going to have the oligarchs who are like, yo, like,
this didn't go according to plan.
You just cost me $14 billion. I know I still have another 40, but still, that's a lot of money, and I'm not cool with it. Yeah. So I think it's going to be twofold.
Or there's a long game. They don't give a fuck because crypto is now a thing, and it's like, we just gonna let all that crumble and just go ahead.
To that point, Brandy, like, and to Foz's earlier point, as far as following the money, that's one of the things that, I kind of, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily research, but like, started kind of reading and hearing about it, as far as when they started initially talking about potentially cutting Russia off from the SWIFT banking system. Russia has already had a lot of things in place in terms of access to money through cryptocurrency going back to like 2018. So even if they're cut off like severely from the SWIFT banking system, if Russia is in fact tapped in well to cryptocurrency and can exchange money that way since 2018, like if that's accurate, then they're not necessarily, like, Putin is not necessarily worried about what happens with the SWIFT banking system, because he's already sort of has like a backdoor to be able to get funding or
well, but that's only going to float him for so long, though. You know what I mean? Like, war is expensive.
I understand all that, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Like, when you've got oligarchs with like massive amounts of money all around the world, and you can exchange or you can transfer that money through cryptocurrency platforms, then like you're fine.
But you have to also consider, you got to pay the regular everyday police to keep the people in check. You have to, continue money flow to like, so that your regular people don't starve. In addition to your soldiers, you have to feed them, make sure they don't starve. You have to pay their salaries, because if you're—
I don't think they're doing that.
Huh?
I don't think they're doing all that shit. I think it's like, we in war, you gonna get it, just chill. You lucky you ain't getting killed.
In a dictatorship, I don't think they're really—
I don't think they're over here.
No, they are. Like I've been like, I've read so many articles about how like there are a lot of people, because a lot of these people, a lot of the men who are fighting are like young, like 19, 20, 21. And they're like, well, I got this because this is the only job that I could get where I would make any kind of difference in my family. It's not like, oh, I'm so loyal to the US, like I want Soviet Union back. Like a lot of them don't share his same ideologies, but it's a dictatorship. So you really don't know how much support people actually have for him in the first place. So, like, it may be a dictatorship, but people are not working for free. Like
I don't think that they're gonna be also working for what they worth either right now.
Oh no, of course
I just don't.
Of course not. So I mean, I guess that comes down to like,
the Staples Center was just turned into the cryptocurrency. Death Row is, what I'm saying? Like, everything is going on.
Yeah. Well, but you also have to consider crypto, the market is down. Like,
yes, it is.
Crypto has crashed significantly. Like my portfolio is shedding tears right now.
Yeah, but crypto was down before this, from the start of the year. Like,
no, I know, but what I'm saying is,
but again, you're talking about guys like in terms of oligarchs who have tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of freaking money. Like if they're using cryptocurrency platforms to be able to transfer money around, then they're not really tripping off of the amount of funding it's going to take to do this. That's kind of like my point with that.
Yeah. Okay.
And crypto crashing just means to invest in it. Right. Back up again.
Right.
Oh, I agree with you, but my point is that, right now, at $38,000 a coin, one Bitcoin, for instance, is not going to travel as far as it did in, September of last year when it was like 67,000 a coin. Like that's my point in saying.
My personal opinion is that it will in certain areas where they don't want to accept the American dollar, where they don't want to accept national currency. You know what I'm saying? Like, and part of me saying this is based on, like nations like Cuba, what we saw in Libya. Part of what I believe is a lot of the conflict with North Korea is like, they're like, nigga, fuck your dollar. Like, we on our own thing. We don't need to trade with you. We don't want nothing that you have. We don't want to be a part of your system. We don't care about y'all's international dealings and everything. Y'all stay over there. We gonna stay over here. Does that mean that it's correct? I mean, that's just, it's each his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, each his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they living their best life and doing what they do, so be it. You know what I mean? But I
keep us free.
But I mean that, and I mean it's unfortunate because you have people, and I'm associating it with what we deal with over here. You know what I'm saying? Like there's only a matter, like, what's stopping another country from coming over here saying like, y'all mistreating Black people, y'all mistreating this, and y'all got misrepresentation here, y'all mishandling funds over here, the school system is messed up, blah 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 blah. You don't see no other countries coming over here bombarding our nation. You know what I'm saying? Like they just like, all right, that's what y'all do. Cool. Like we over here
Right.
doing our thing. You know what I'm saying? So to my point, I feel as though that crypto is going to advance in other people said, like Russia been on it since what, like 4 years at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like it's only a delay for us because they trying to figure out how to regulate it. They trying to figure out how to tax people. You know what I'm saying?
They're trying to do that worldwide, actually. I mean, they have done it, like, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, you can't trade crypto. Like, there's a few countries where you can't trade it, like, at all. And there's actually a bill in front of Congress right now where the SEC is trying to make it so that they can regulate crypto. They don't say the word cryptocurrency, but what they do is they talk about a note, which is $1, right? And so they're saying anywhere where $1 is traded for something, they want to be able to regulate it, which means on the crypto exchange. And so there are a lot of people in the crypto market that are kind of waiting with bated breath to see to see what is going to happen with this, because obviously if the SEC steps in and is able to regulate it that way, then it's no longer a decentralized currency. Because like right now there are some things that are centralized, like for instance, Coinbase or Binance, which are like their hubs for their exchange hubs, right? Those are centralized. And so the SEC is able to regulate them. But then you also have websites like Uniswap, right? Where Uniswap is something where you can swap different tokens for different tokens, and it's not centralized. There's not like one hub that is handling that exchange. And so the SEC doesn't, like, they can't step in there because you're not technically trading dollars, you're trading token for token. Yeah. But if the SEC gets involved, then places like Uniswap will then be regulated, because ultimately what happens is you've ultimately bought that coin that you are swapping with a note or a dollar, which means if there was ever $1 involved in, like, even down the line, then that means the SEC can step in and regulate it. And it's huge overreach. So like the hope is that this does not pass.
Well, and this goes to my earlier point, as well as the point that Faz just made in terms of, you know, the government trying to, you know, regulate cryptocurrency. And my earlier point as far as like pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, because there's several cryptocurrency platforms that are like decentralized platforms that are being highly used throughout like Europe, and that sort of thing. And the US as a whole is fairly late to the cryptocurrency party, if you will. And so that's why like we're seeing these SEC cases right now against certain cryptos and whatnot, like, because
like
again,
XRP.
Yeah, like they're trying to get control or regulate it over it. And because the US has always sort of, I don't know how, well, I know how, but the US has always sort of had a way of kind of dominating what the financial industry as a whole looks like. You know what I mean? Like everything in other countries, a lot of the other countries' currency is based on what, or it's compared to what the US dollar is. And so like, like history has shown, like US has always got to try to stick their nose in other other countries' business and control things as much as they can. And so like, there's people out there that are kind of talking like this whole battle of being able to regulate cryptocurrency like has been escalating and becoming more and more public. And so maybe now we're seeing, an invasion in another country just to kind of shift eyeballs to that. So nobody really, or so we get blindsided about what happens with cryptocurrency.
Right.
And to not, or it's convenient that like, we saw just 4 or 5 years ago, maybe less than that, 2 years ago, Donald Trump trying to force Ukraine to, spread negative propaganda about Joe Biden Hunter Biden and try to blackmail him with not selling him Javelin missiles, the same Javelin missiles that if Ukraine had actually been, sold, they would be using those Javelin missiles to destroy Russian tanks right now. Like, it's not a coincidence. It is, but it isn't.
I think there's so much more to the story. Like, there's so much under the surface. Like, we can sit here and like speculate all day, but I don't think no matter how much we speculate, we're even going to scratch the surface of what is really, really, really going on.
But Kickback University, ladies and gentlemen, we've dropped a lot of knowledge on this show over the years, and Faza said it. You don't have to necessarily take our word for it. Do your own research and that kind of thing. But we've been pretty darn accurate majority of the time. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, so here's my thing. Has anybody been seeing Bel Air? It ties in. Just give me a second. Have you guys seen the Bel Air remake?
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
Well, Carlton is always telling Will, because every time something happens, Will be like, "I gotta bust your ass," and he'd be like, "Okay, Will, that's how you guys do. All you gonna do is fight." And I'm just like, damn, like hearing all this shit, I'm just like, can we just kill these niggas? But it's just like, that is just that is the American way. Like, you just be like, man, and I'm recognizing that it's in my spirit. I'm like, you saying all this shit. I'm like, damn, these niggas gotta be taken out.
But why though? Like, that's the question. Like, why? Where did it all stem from? Where did it all start? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the real issue? That's the thing that we're not being told. What is the real conflict? What is the problem? Like, yeah, the easy way out is to just bomb on somebody, but it's like, for what?
Right.
For what? What are we upset about? What are you firing on somebody about? Mm-hmm. Why would Will want to bust Carlton's ass? Why? Because you can't articulate yourself well enough?
Right.
You have to resort to physical brute strength.
Yeah.
Because you know, I can win the battle if I just take you out. What? For what?
Exactly.
Because you can't handle the truth. Because you managed to make several decisions that led you to get to the point to where you're at now, to where now you're being confronted with your own decision.
Because you don't have the answer, Sway. That's why.
How did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? That's always the thing that I ask. It's like, there's so many issues that America has, but again, it always goes back to follow the money.
Yep.
It ain't about solving issues. It ain't about none of that. Like, black people students trying to get on a train, they don't give a fuck. And what's crazy is that people here in America are gonna look at that and say, "Oh, this is an outrage. How dare they?" When they can't even turn around and look in their own backyard and see the outrage that's happening here.
You know what? I feel like a lot of people aren't even going to look at it and be like, "Oh, the outrage," because there's a lot of stuff that I was reading where everyone's like justifying it.
What?
Everyone, like, people are justifying it. Yeah, like, but like they always have, that cognitive dissonance kicks in. Oh, well, they need to prioritize their citizens. Well, these people who are students aren't there illegally.
Right.
It's not like the government didn't know that they were there. It's not like they're there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're there, like, wreaking havoc and causing chaos and escalating crime. Like, no. But a lot of people are like, well, they have to prioritize their citizens, and they have, like, no. War is war.
We've lost the humanity portion 100%. Of it. Like, you know what I mean? And that was the thing I mentioned to Tiana last night. I'm like, have we not already reached the point of, like, this is a humanitarian crisis? You know what I'm saying? Like, where whether it's NATO or just other countries in general, should be like, you know, kind of step up to the plate and be like, look, Putin, like you freaking out of pocket right now. Like this is, you know, because, you know, they started killing citizens, Ukraine citizens on day one.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really like trying to just walk in and take over, you know, Ukrainian government and the state. It's
no, they
like,
was hitting hospitals.
They came in bombing. Like
that's normal.
Yeah.
We did that shit in Afghanistan.
Well,
We did it in Iraq. We did it in Iran. You know what I mean? Like they did. That's how slavery started. You know, we went in as missionaries and then came back, start firing on shit. You know what I mean? They tried to do it in Haiti and then they got their ass busted until the French cuisines came back and was like, hey, just send the whole military.
Right.
Send some shit that they can't fight on. You know what I mean? To force our way. That's ultimately what it is, which again, it goes back to the question of what is it that y'all in this for?
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? What is it for? It's mind control. It's mind control.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's deeper than greed. It's persuasion. You know what I mean?
I think it goes down to, I think it's twofold. I think it's power and greed. Power of persuasion, power of mind control. Like, I think that's what it is. It's a coming together of those two things, like a consolidation of power and wealth. And it's like, but at the end of the day, I'm like, when is it enough? You know, like, when do you have enough?
You never do.
And that's exactly what the problem is. Is that like, you're gonna be what, sitting on top of a mountain of money and nobody else has any money? What are you gonna do with it?
But it's bigger than money. I think that's my
No,
point.
I know. I'm just saying, envision someone like, I have all of this money. I'm sitting on a mountain of money and everyone around me is poor.
But like, even
what
with that, it's like, even with that, the reason why like the Yoruba religion has been able to travel through, it's like, you still can't take nobody's mind. Like, so with you doing all of that, like at the long and short, you understand, because I be long-winded, you and your little dick energy, you still got a little dick. Like, that doesn't change shit. Like,
yeah.
There's been people that prisoners of war and stuff that I've watched several documentaries and stuff, like they've been wrongfully accused, Black Panthers and stuff, like they never broke while they was in there.
Yeah.
So they should know.
Some people do.
Some people do. I'm just saying, with this whole global domination situation, it's like, do your thing if that's what you feel like you need to do, but you can't get everybody. You cannot take nobody's mind. Like, you can't tell me where I'm at. Like, you can't tell me shit.
Yeah.
I'm in heaven right now.
They don't care about everybody. They just care about those that they can get.
Yeah.
Whether you believe it's 85% or 95%, whatever percentage you think you can get, or you know that you can have. And we've seen it firsthand. We saw it on January 6th. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen it several times over. That it's
January 6th
about
the insurrection at the Capitol.
Oh.
Was that last year?
Last year.
You know what I mean? And so it's one of them things to where it's I'm gonna just get who I can.
What about the whole, like, now I'm just starting shit. But what about the whole, like, you know, the vaccine thing, and they were barricading the Capitol, and it's like, all of a sudden it's like war. Like, is anybody still mad about the vaccine stuff? Like, that's out now. Nobody's mad about that now. It's all about war. So we just cut that off.
We'll go back to being mad about it. I'm sure.
There's still a small niche group of people that are fighting that, you know, that battle, whatever. I mean, there's still, I think there's still the truckers in Canada.
I think they dispersed.
Oh, did they finally?
But it's my understanding that they were heading to like Washington, D.C. or something. I don't know what these people are doing anymore. Listen.
It's all a distraction.
I'm trying to get a passport to another galaxy.
It's not that people aren't mad anymore. It's people are distracted. People aren't seeing it as much as they used to. Things are starting to open back up because businesses want to thrive. The economy needs the everyday dollar in order to prosper, right? And so it's not that people aren't upset. It's just now we have this illusion that everything is going back to normal.
Yeah.
Let me hold on. Now we have this illusion of a new normal. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? Where nobody is questioning putting on a mask anymore. It's now normal. You don't leave your house without your keys, phone, wallet, and a mask, right? Or you keep one in the car. You keep several in the car. You have new protocols into going into work. Or now it's just normal. You working from home. People ain't even getting dressed up no more. That's the normal now, right? So now that we've gotten your mind conditioned to believe in this thing here, all of this other shit while you were locked away and we had you pressed off of this and getting your mind conditioned to believe in this, all of this shit that we were working on over here is now starting to go into motion. And now we're just going to start revealing it to you to make you believe some other shit that now we're going to put it into motion. So it's really just, it's a game of chess. It's really the power players, those people that are pulling all the strings, that's in charge of all these nations, whether it be the federal banks, whether it be whoever's in the position of power, you know what I mean? Bilderberg Group, you name whoever it is. I don't know, right? Whoever quote unquote they are. That's the whole play. They are 20 years ahead of us right now. They are working on shit that we're still arguing about petty shit. We don't even
meanwhile,
own land.
they've planned 100, 200 years out on.
Meanwhile, they are conditioning other nations to believe something. They're striking fear into this next generation because now this next generation is going to be conditioned with all of the fear that's being set in now. You see what I'm saying? So it's one of them things to where, you know, it's.
And this is where I'm like, we got to take these niggas out. It's like
that ain't the answer.
I know it's not. I know it's not. But that's what I'm saying, where I'll be like, damn, I got to really reel back in my mind. Like, damn, that's really your first thought. And that shit don't solve everything.
Yeah.
In the long term.
And
but they bruise. They bruise. So it'd be like taking all those bruises.
An answer that's worked for me is to unplug and get to peace.
Yes.
At the end of the day, I can't stop shit. If a new world order is coming, then so be it. You can fight trying to get the vaccine all you want, or you can go ahead and get it and get your paycheck. It's up to you. It's whatever decision and choice that you make.
Or you cannot get it and do other things. Like, yeah. All that.
It's whatever your choice is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever your choice is. Yeah. That's, you know, that's what I've learned. Yeah. That's what I've learned.
Like I said, I'm trying to get to a whole nother galaxy because this.
That's what they're working on.
Yeah.
They're trying to get it to where if you got money to escape.
Nah, I'm gonna go to Sedona. I'm gonna go to Sedona with the hippies and try to spot an alien and make a friend.
Hey, so y'all have family dinner? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't never been to a family dinner out of space.
Yeah, see? Exactly. I'd be like, yeah, a hypersleep? I can do that. I'm a mom. I'm tired all the time.
Right. You said 45 years? That ain't bad.
Yeah, right? Ain't nothing. I'm good. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens.
We gonna see.
I feel like in between 6 months to a year, we're gonna have an episode. I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all remember what I said?
No, straight up.
Right here. Subscribe.
Straight up.
Yeah. I mean, hey. Yeah. Plus, I've learned not to react, to everything, despite what it is. Again, I'm all for peace and humanity, and my heart goes out to anybody that is suffering or dealing with any type of warfare, because it isn't natural. It isn't humane. It isn't a part of the melanated code. You know what I'm saying? Like we were never warmongers. We were never uncivilized people. That is something that was conditioned into us by those that are not melanated, are not conscious of self. So I'm gonna say that. Um, so again, this shit is all fucked up. War is never a beautiful thing, and I'm hoping that people are able to just go home to their loved ones. You know what I mean? Whether you in an inner city in America or whether you overseas dealing with whatever. You know what I'm saying? But the key thing is I hope that people do understand who they are, what they're capable of, and make the best decision for you. You know what I mean? Because I think the important takeaway from this conversation is talk about it. You know what I mean? Try to get to the core root of what it is. Don't just go based off of what you hear, even from us.
Mm-hmm.
Take from what you hear from everything that we just said and find out how it applies to you. Don't just sit and watch the news all day. Find how it applies to you. Find out what you can actually do. Find out what's happening around you. You know what I'm saying? Because meanwhile, while you're distracted with what's happening over there, there's probably a policy that just happened because you didn't vote for a local official.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's probably something that's happening right up under your noses that's connected to the shit that's happening over there. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of those of us that feel like we need to do something, and those of us that think that we can't, to start having these conversations and realizing like, yo, we can do something. We can unify. We can start something, even if it is within your own your tribe, clan, whatever it may be. Start small. You know what I'm saying? And make the decisions that work best for you and those around you.
Yeah. And
that's my 2 cents.
We talked about accountability on this show before, and so like if the people are out there, if you guys are like really truly upset or outraged or what have you about Russia overstepping their bounds and invading Ukraine in this fashion, just remember that 52 out of 53 Republican senators voted to in favor of Trump's not
selling to Ukraine,
not selling
the
javelin missiles to Ukraine. So if you want to actually or do something that's actually can have an effect and hold people accountable and that sort of thing, you can find who all those Republican senators are. It's all of them except Mitt Romney. I'll make it easy for you. All of them except Mitt Romney. Vote them out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and that's the
from
thing.
What I remember.
People who are, I won't even say Democrat, just people who are non-Republicans tend to be the ones who vote the least. And, if, like Swivel said, if you're actually upset about it, then I'm an advocate for voting. I feel like it's too many of our ancestors who actually fought for that right, for us to not exercise it. I think that at the end of the day, start local, because I don't care if it's school board, you vote for those people, because the people who get on the school board are the ones who get on your city council, are the ones who become your mayors, and your legislatures are the ones who become your Congress people, are the ones who become your senators, and then they're the ones who become your president. So that's the progression. And a lot of people are they'll vote once every 4 years in the presidential election, and that's it. And it's that's when your vote is has the least amount of weight, 1-to-1, versus when you're actually voting for these city officials and county officials and people, in these local elections, because that's how it starts. That's where these people start. Average Joe doesn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be the president. No, it's a long progression to get there.
And if you don't you're not comfortable with just jumping into it, just start talking to people. What I've noticed that, the generation under me, they have more care in how they feel and what they want to do than what you said that they have to do. So it's like, you know, it's almost like they're, I don't know, I don't want to say we're, whatever, but it's almost like it's trying to get back into a system where we just do what we got to do and we're not questioning things. And it's like, nah, keep questioning shit. If you don't get it, keep talking, keep questioning it. Like there's answers to everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? There's power in that. And there's no book to being Brandy. There's no book to being Foz. No book, you know what I'm saying? There's no book to being anybody. It's okay for you to figure your shit out.
Yeah.
Fail forward.
There you go. Exactly.
Kickback University, ladies and gentlemen.
Look out for the NFT, my nigga. We're going to go ahead and have a fucking Kickback University NFT, you guys. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have classes. You know what I'm saying? We got live coaching with guidance. We got some, we'll have professional beatboxing and as well as everyone to get closer into your original self. We'll have that by Foz, and then for the athletic training course as well as DJ skills, you know what I'm saying, we'll have some classes there, and then we'll also sell additional, you know what I'm saying, you can come and be a teacher, you know, we'll sell real estate, you know what I'm saying, so just look out for that shit.
That's what all of this shit is pushing us into the metaverse. That's exactly what it is. That's what this is for.
That's exactly what it is.
All right, let's pool our money, start buying land in the metaverse. I'll start living there.
I'm not trying to go freaking spend all my time in a digital universe. Like, I'm quite happy with my freaking physical form, avatar body, whatever you want to call it, as is right now. Like, let me enjoy this
with real flesh ass. You know what I'm saying? Shit, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? But I do know that somebody, I guess when the Matrix was, you know, Matrix 4 was popping off, they gave these people the ability to, you know, select group of people to kind of like create their own cells and test it out. And then like, it's now in that like metaverse. So like those people don't have access to these cells they've created. And that's fucking crazy. It's crazy. You create yourself, you see it, it's doing these little things, and then it's like, why did you want me to create exactly me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's deep.
It's a conspiracy.
It's deep. We could sit here all night and talk about it and pontificate until the sun comes up and still not scratch the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Listen.
Not at all. We won't even get anything up under our fingernails.
Nope.
Yeah. But hey, enjoy the moment. This is the only moment that matters. Everything that has happened is only a stepping stone. Tomorrow is simply but an unfulfilled promise that has yet to be completed. But right now it's going to dictate wherever you go. So make the best decision for yourself. Can you repeat that? Yesterday was only a stepping stone. Right now is the only moment that matters. What it is that you do right now is going to dictate what happens tomorrow, which is yet just an unfulfilled promise. That's all it is.
That was a lot, y'all.
That's deep.
That's cool.
That shit is like some milk. And eat that shit for breakfast, my nigga. It's
normal. It's regular. It's just a regular Tuesday.
It's a regular Tuesday.
Is that what she did? Because y'all always do that. Is that what she did? Or that's just some shit you asked?
No, that was the code for those of you that are just now joining the regular Tuesday talk, Swivel and I had the honor and pleasure of traveling to New York with the legendary West Coast group, You and I, internationally acclaimed. And while we were there, we were trying to find something to get into because these snitches wanted to kick it at McDonald's. So we wasn't eating there, so we was like, yo, let's go get some food. Found like a Subway or something. I believe we were in like Soho or something. And this is in New York. And heard some music coming out this building, and this very voluptuous Wahini was walking out, and she was beelining. She was beelining to the street. There was nothing in the street. There was a bunch of like high-end cars, right, that were in the street. We didn't know where she was going. She's beelining to the street. We asked her, we was like, hey, you know, what's going on here? She goes, it's just a regular Tuesday. He's like, yeah, we don't know what that means. We like, what does that mean? Out of nowhere, a cab pulls up. And mind you, she did not miss a beat. She didn't stop, hesitate, stutter. She literally opened the door and said, it's just a regular Tuesday. Closed the door and the car dipped off. And we was like, all right, like that's new lingo. So we got on the subway. This is maybe the next day, days later or whatever. We get on the subway and another beautiful Wahini that was on the subway, right? And we was like, yo, like we looking at each other like, which one of us is gonna try to shoot this shot? You know what I'm saying? And I don't know which one of us, I don't know if it was me or Swiv or who saw her first, but she had a gigantic ass rock and her dude was like on the train with her. And we was like, we basically looked at each other and was like, nah, it's just a regular Tuesday.
Oh my God, I love it. It's just a regular Tuesday. You can't fuck with that one.
Yeah,
just a regular Tuesday.
Just keep it moving.
Just keep going. Just keep going. Just get in your cab and go to wherever your destination is.
I love it.
Just a regular Tuesday. So
that's
so yeah. So when you hear us say that, that just means, you know, just whatever the questions that's coming your way is just a regular Tuesday. You got to figure it out because I'm getting to my destination.
Yeah, I got to. Everywhere got a West Side, nigga.
That part.
Listen, whoever that young lady is, thank you for bringing so much joy. You have brought years of joy and connection into our lives. You are a philosopher, and that is the joy of a Black woman.
Yeah, I was about to say, what is a Swahili? What are you calling them? A Wahini?
A Wahini. That's a whole nother story. A random dude in San Diego.
Yeah.
We were opening for Busta Rhymes in San Diego. Some random dude was just standing outside. I think we had just finished talking to Split about Notorious. We had this amazing conversation with Split Star. We just chilling or whatever, and this random dude just walk up out of nowhere, and just started talking to us about, I forget what he was talking about. I don't know if it was food or whatever. I don't know how we even started the conversation, but he just started saying like Hawaiian words. And so he was like, yeah, you know, Wahini, blah, blah, blah. Wahini means woman. And so that just became our thing. Instead of saying, you know, it was like our code. And everybody knew what we were talking about because it was more than obvious. When it's like, man, there's a Wahini over there. That's, you know, it ain't no regular Tuesday. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's random people be coming into our lives, man. And they either give you information, they give you gems, or they ask you for $20 to fix a car that they don't have.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. So that's another story. Got it. Okay.
It's just another part of the reason why I don't give nobody no money. You know, if you're looking for change, I'm gonna give you a Martin Luther King speech. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Dang.
Spare some change. But listen, brother, change starts within. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Renewing your mind, you know what I'm saying? Purifying your heart. When you change your perspective, your intentions will then follow what it is that you are picturing in your mind. That's where the change starts. This $250 I got in my pocket ain't gonna help your situation. Right. You gotta change it.
But here. you just gave him more monetary value with that message than.
I don't know about that.
Listen.
What? Change your mind, change your mindset. Get your ass.
That's
on
real
get
shit.
A job.
That's real shit. That is the realest shit ever.
Realest shit I never wrote.
Nigga.
Plus, the $20 I'm gonna give you is only gonna. I'll probably fund it before I stop giving people money, strangers, transients. I was probably funding a lot of crack addictions. Okay, a lot of heroin purchases was made with my hard work money. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not funding your addiction or whatever it is that you do with it, your money, just to see you come and ask me again tomorrow.
Right.
But if that's what you do, you know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do, okay? If that's what you need to do to go to sleep, do what you got to do.
If it makes you happy, I love it. And continue doing your thing. Continue doing your thing. It's just not going to be me.
Yeah.
And that is,
I have given clothes. My dad growing up, shout out to you. That nigga, he said, we don't give money. No, he was mad with it too. And I was just like, why is he so angry? He must have got. I never know the story. I never found out, but he must have got for some things because he just we give meals, we give clothes. You know what I'm saying? We give advice.
But that's what it is, right? And growing up under that Christian umbrella, right, which I no longer subscribe to. But there's this misconception that everything equals money. When the very text, when you look at religious studies, it's never about money, especially when a lot of these texts are based on 6,000, 2,000, however long ago, they didn't have the same type of currency that we have, right? So when you talk about tithing of your increase, they were farmers, right? So what is it that you're producing that you're going to give 10% of? Not you paying 10% of time that you spent is deep. You know what I'm saying? The text doesn't say anything about giving somebody a currency, whether it was shingles, shackles, fucking frankincense and myrrh. Doesn't say none of that. What it says is, if somebody is hungry, feed them. If they're naked, clothe them. If they don't have a place to stay, give them shelter.
Yep.
That's what it says. So this whole idea of giving money, it's like, what are you really giving, right? What are you really giving? Am I really supplying a need that you have?
Yes.
Now, needless to say, I know when I've been on my rock bottom shit, never asked for money, right? But I've always ended up on my feet, always either made it happen, or the few times that people have came through for me, it's always been exactly what I needed. Whether it was a hot plate, whether it was some clothes, whatever it may have been, it was like, boom, all right, bet, this can get me into the next until I can, boom, get it popping. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of them things to where how all of this shit translates to money is, it goes back into the deep conversation we were having earlier.
Right.
Pretty soon that money is going to be in a metaverse.
And then you can come to Kickback University and we'll go ahead and tell you guys what to do next. But in the meantime,
NFT of my voice.
Right. All of that.
In between time and in the meantime. Yeah.
I think on that note.
Yeah, we love y'all. We appreciate you. As always, continue to do your own research, find out what works best for you. Don't just take our word for it. This is simply just our expression based on our experiences with this everyday conversation that you can find right here every week at the Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. I go by the name of Foz. You can find me at WaveCapJohnny on all your social media devices. And she is
Organic Blackberry. You feel me? Tastes like it sound like it tastes. And she is
I'm still just Tiana Giovanni, y'all. Spelled like it sounds phonetically.
You feel me? Literally though.
Spelled like it sounds like it's spelled.
Yep, exactly. There you go.
Literally.
There you go. All the phonics. And he is
DJ Swivel. Anything less would be unswivelized, and SWIVL on Instagram.
Sexy Swivel.
okay.
Not with my knee looking like a grapefruit that fell down a flight of stairs.
That's all right. I'll still take it.
That's what she said.
I put it back in my Uzi out, and I put the Uzi back.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Put it back. That bitch back.
All right, y'all.
All right. Y'all be well. Until next time.
Listen, what happened? I missed it. Did you see something? Something happened.
Until next time.
He just popped his little.
Yeah, he's
I was minding my business.
he's
I just,
crazy.
I have that same water bottle and I love it.
That thing fell down his full flight of stairs, nigga. That shit did not break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It broke, but I put it back together. It's still, the only thing that got hurt was the water. That was it.
Right. That's that's what he said.
Deuces.
He's doing his gangster thing. I seen you on the last one doing your gangster thing. All right.
West
Shout
side
out to them. They're a real brand too. Shout out to them. We got a West Side.
There it is there. All right. Peace.